Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. Welcome to MFSN's Waiver Wire for Baseball Week 8. I'm here. Oh, I should tell who I am. I'm Dr. Dan Ratner, and I'm here with Ross the Boss.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk baseball waiver wire with you, cowboy.
Ross, you look like you've been in one of those top-down cars.
I know my hair. I need a haircut actually, which I will get.
Oh, you're looking good. You're looking good. You look like you look like something from Smokey and the Bandit. I like it.
Oh, I love that movie.
All right, let's get right to it.
Justice.
Let's get right to it. We're gonna get to catchers, but before I do, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. And either Ross or I will argue with you, and maybe Casey. Well, he'll probably agree. All right, Ross, we're doing 60% and under on Yahoo owned. We're going to catchers first, as we always do, because there's such a conundrum. I had to trade for one this week because it's been so bad.
I saw that. Tell the folks what your trade was real quick. I thought there was an interesting trade. Why don't we talk about that really quick, and we'll talk about catchers.
Now, let's remember, this is a keeper league, or I wouldn't have been able to make this deal probably, but I had Luis Robert, and he's just doing nothing for me. He's a great keeper, but I needed a catcher, so I traded.
And he's hurt until August. I call him Robert, but it's Robert. You're right, but keep going.
It is, because he's French.
So Louis Robert for
the Will Smith, the catcher.
Will Smith, not the rapper, not the relief pitcher, but the catcher for the Dodgers.
I also did get Taylor Rogers included, and I have Hansel Robles. So I kind of locked up that closer spot and got a catcher for somebody who wasn't going to help me.
Well, I thought it was a good deal. Will Smith, I think, he's owned 96%, have him right now. Will Smith is a top-tier catcher, and he made a great deal. He's under 30 also, which is unbelievable. Great deal. Good job, Dr. Dan Ratner.
Thank you so much.
So my first catcher, he's hitting, again, the catcher, to get a catcher, it's more of a streamer, this guy. We talked about him every week, Dan. You love this kid, Mitch Garver. He plays for the Minnesota Twins. In the past 7 days, he's in 375. He has a home run. He has a stolen base. He is actually, he's hitting for average. 375 is not bad in 7 days. It's a streamer. So my number one catcher pickup of the week, it's Mitch Garver, but I'm not crazy about it, but I would take it. There you go.
Okay, now listen, I thought we were calling them streakers. Don't try to rebrand our show and call them what they're actually supposed to be called.
Well, I didn't want to say streaker off the back. I was going to wait a little bit, but yes, we call the streamers streakers. That's our technology. So understand that, folks.
All right. Meanwhile, Mitch Garver does not have a stolen base, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
I guess they didn't count it. It was a double steal, and I guess they didn't count a stolen base.
Okay, so here's another. If you want to go the anti-Mitch Garver, you can go with Omar Narvaez. I almost said that completely.
Omar Narvaez, okay.
He's hitting 317 for the year. Now, he's only got 13 RBIs and 3 homers,
and he plays in Colorado, correct?
No, Milwaukee. You're thinking of what's his name? Nunez.
I get those two guys mixed up, but that's fine. So we talked about the Milwaukee. What's percentage owned is he? He's having a great year. I can't believe he's not.
He's 43% owned, but he just he just doesn't drive in enough runs. He only scored 8
small
runs.
Market team too. No one wants to watch the Milwaukee.
If you have Narvaez and you can combine him with Williams Astudillo, which we've talked about, those two guys, they won't bring down your average, and they're going to give you numbers that are probably better than Mitch Garver, except maybe in home runs. Garver's going to give you a hard time in that. But those would be the ones I'd go with. I can't take a catcher who's going to bat, 220 and below, even though so many of them do. It's just my personal take. Okay, anybody we need to cover a catcher?
William Contreras of Atlanta. He's playing 90% of the games. I know he's like your rule, under 220, but he does have 4 home runs. He's hitting 214, 13 RBIs. He's playing 90% of the games he's getting the start. So that being said, it's somebody that if you need a catcher that's at least playing and hitting okay, he's not going to hurt you that badly. It's not a bad pickup.
Okay, but if you're going to go for a bad batting average catcher, why not go with Mike Zunino? He's owned only 38%, and he's got 11 homers.
11 home runs, but he doesn't play every day. Look at his playing.
Yeah, but you could pick up Francisco Mejia, who is his, it's not really.
Yeah, but then you're like waiting 2 hours before the game to see you starting every day. It's just too much work.
That's true.
For me. I can't do that.
That's too much work. That's the kind of thing I did to win the Fantasy Hockey League. Okay, now we have Sam Jacobowitz has joined us, and he's asking a question. He asked us, how do you guys feel about Adolis Garcia. I'll tell you how I feel about Adolis Garcia.
Tell us.
I feel angry because I didn't pick him up, and Ross
picked
did.
him up. I
did.
totally forgot.
And now I was like, should I trade? Like, should I offer Zach Gallen, who's injured, for Adolis Garcia? And you know what stopped me? Because I knew Ross would like ridicule me out of the room.
No, he's a hurt player, and this guy just doesn't hit home runs.
But it's a keeper league. It's a keeper.
But he steals bases also. If I had to pick 5 players to keep, he'd be one of them right now.
I don't blame you at all.
I mean, this
and
guy,
this is why I did not
stats
make
he has right now: 45 home runs, 20 stolen bases, and he's hitting over 300.
Listen, this is why I did not make the offer, because I mean,
the guy's on
myself.
A tear. And Texas, Sam, as soon as it gets hot, like 95, 100 degrees there, the ball flies out of there.
Yeah, but he can't do better than he's doing. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Sam thinks he will, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll see. Sam, what do you think about it? Let's hear what you think. All right, we're gonna go to first base, and Ross, I'm going to start with you. And you know why? I'm going to acknowledge that Casey Scheinvold is, again, not here. Flat to the bone. He's the number 1 player in fantasy sports.
He's the hottest player in Major League Baseball, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He is unbelievable. If you have him, it's a good time. Maybe you should trade him because his value is so high.
Not if you're in a keeper league.
I'm not saying keeper, but a lot of leagues are not keeper leagues.
Most leagues are not keeper.
Are redraft leagues. We know that. But his value is so high right now that you can get like an unbelievable.
Yeah, look, if you can trade him for like Freddie Freeman and an ace pitcher, maybe.
I was thinking Tatis. You can get Tatis for him. Watch out.
You probably can.
Maybe.
And look, depending on your need, it's a no-brainer. Okay, let's talk about first base. Sam says Adolis Garcia will be good, but he's clearly overperforming. I agree, but sometimes these guys just overperform for the entire season. It really does happen. I don't expect him to do this next year, but could he keep it up this year? He could. Ross, who at first base?
So the guy I'm taking was just brought up by the Milwaukee Brewers. He has unbelievable fantasy upside. Last year, I think he was a second baseman last year, but now he's playing first. It's Kirsten Harora. He's a Japanese Keston, excuse me.
Keston Hiura.
Keston. I guess I have.
That's okay. I'm always your pronunciation consultant, especially when Casey's not here.
So in the minors, he was destroying it in the minors. They just brought him up, and he has such upside.
This is a guy to trade for.
I mean, it's a guy that you should pick up and you should play him because I think he'll play every day. And last year he was like going to be one of these phenoms that never really panned out. But I think he got what he had to do in the minors. They brought him up. He was hitting like 400 or 500 in the minor. He was killing the ball in the minors, killing it. And now he's in the majors. And for me, the best upside player you can pick up right now at first base is Mr. How do you say it? Harara.
Keston Hiura.
Mr. Hiura. But he's 24 years old also, if that means anything to you.
Yeah, he's a good pickup. Here's another way you could go. It's very different because Joshua Fuentes on Colorado, he doesn't have the upside of Hiura. There's no question.
And he's been the past couple weeks, he has not been hitting like he was hitting before. I mean, he's been slowing down a lot.
He has, but he's still in Colorado, and he qualifies.
I know. I get it.
But listen, would I rather have Andrew Vaughn? We talked about last week.
Yep.
Probably would because of the upside. Would I rather have Jeimer Candelario? Possibly. These are all decent pickups. Ty France is also back, so I'm just mentioning a couple. But anybody else that we've missed at first base before we move on?
I mean, I like Garrett Cooper. The past 7 days, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. He's been hitting like, you know what he's hitting in the past 7 days? 500.
I don't, but didn't he star in High Noon? Oh no, that's Gary Cooper. I'm sorry.
Gary Cooper. He's hitting 500. I mean, in the past, I mean, he's hitting 500. He's a streaker. I don't think he'll hit 500 for the year, but if you need a quick fix at first base, Gary Cooper, we'll call him Gary Cooper. I like that. It's funny. Gary Cooper could be your guy, especially for the Marlins, who are hitting the ball extremely well right now.
Now, moving to second base, I told you that Gavin Lux was not going to be available anymore. He is over.
Oh, he's like, I mean, I said it. He's like on 2 weeks ago. I said he's starting to hit. Pick him up down. Of course, a lot of people listen to me, and he's not available.
I know that's what happens. Everybody listens to us. So, here's a guy that I kind of like for a stash is Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore has second base, third base, shortstop, and outfield, and he stole 8 bases in just 119 at bats. This guy could be a fantasy difference maker. I know that you're going to look and be like, but he's batting 168. But you got to remember, he was batting like 115.
No, I'm not arguing. I like Dylan Moore. You're not going to say it's a bad pickup. It's a stash guy. It's not a guy you're going to start tomorrow.
No, because he's not. Well, you can, but he won't play.
But I'm going to stay with the same team. This guy's been hurt, and he just got back, and he actually is like he's been hitting. I think he's hitting like since he's been back, he's hitting like 500. I just watched him play before I came here. He plays for the Mariners, and his name is Ty France, and he doesn't speak French, which is the crazy thing. I know his name's Ty France, but he doesn't speak a word of French.
Luis Robert is not French either.
But he, I know he's not killing the ball right now, but he just got back from injury, and he's hitting like 237, I think, for the year. But after the injury, when he came back, he's hitting great. And Ty France last year had a great year. So I think statistically, stat-wise, is a guy that you should pick up immediately at second base.
Yep. I actually just want to make this other point, which is you've got to adjust your eyeballs to these batting averages. 237 is not what 237 used to be. I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. A 237 average is, it's a subpar hitter. A 237 average 5 years ago was like
Yeah, but he hit 300 last year. Just remember, he's not going to hit. Yeah, he's not going to hit 230. Ty France is not going to hit 237 for the year.
Unlikely. You're right. But, then there's a guy like Kike Hernandez, second base, shortstop, and outfield. And this guy, he's hitting 262, which in 2021 is like basically almost competing for Triple Crown. Not quite, because there's also guys that are hitting like 370. Absurd. Nick Castellanos. Like, how did
Nick and Winker for the two Reds are battling it for the batting title right now. It's unbelievable what's going on in Cincinnati.
As a Reds fan, you must be in heaven.
I'd rather have us win than battling for batting titles.
All right, so you're in purgatory. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I had it right, but okay. No. Now we're going to third base.
No, not yet. I have a couple. I have another second baseman I want to talk about. Okay. This guy was a hot prospect. He got hurt. He hasn't played that much. He had a hamstring strain to start the year. His stats in spring were like unbelievable. Like he was hitting 350, 3 home runs. It's Brandon Rogers he was a second baseman for the Colorado Rockies. He just activated him. Now he's somebody that top prospect. Rockies have huge hopes for this guy, huge, and he's going to be starting in Colorado. Brandon Rogers, pick him up if you want to need a second baseman. It could be one of these guys that if you pick him up now, all your friends 2 weeks later are going to say, "Oh my God, you're like a genius! How you picked up Brandon Rogers?" Yeah, you are a genius because Ross the boss. So pick him up.
Yeah, listen, he could be one of these guys who's a post-hype sleeper. He was a huge prospect before. Then he was a post-hype sleeper. He's still not doing it, but guys like this break through. Castellanos is one of those guys. He was not. He did not break through. He did not break through, and now he's hitting 370. It happens. Okay, third base. Who do you got, Ross? I'd ask Casey, but he just refuses to come join us.
Since we've been on last, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays traded away their starting shortstop to bring up. I thought it was going to be Wander Franco, but no, they brought up Tyler Walls. You know why? He's hitting 323 in the minors, 2 home runs, been just destroying the ball. They're bringing this kid up before Wander Franco, which is, to me, it's like, how good is this kid? So I like Tyler Walls of Tampa Bay. I think it's a great chance pick. I think if you need a guy that's young, good looking, and is going to get you some runs, Tyler Walls is your guy.
Okay, now I just want to make the point that good looking is not one of the categories.
I thought it was. I'm sorry.
Rotisserie or head-to-head. Look, it probably is in some league, but it's so subjective. Plus,
who do you like?
They're all men. Not into that.
That's true. I know, but I'm just saying it's always, if you're secure with your sexuality like Ross the Boss is, you can talk about.
I'm secure with my sexuality. I'm just not into it.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, I'm just pointing out.
Nothing wrong with it, but it's just not my thing. Now, look, Ty France again. I said him earlier with first base. You said him for second base, and now I'm going to come back and say him for third base.
Fine.
I'm going to tell you why.
We're shortstop. Yeah.
The third base. We're third base. We haven't moved to shortstop yet. Third base.
Yeah. I said the wrong guy then.
Oh, Brendan Rodgers doesn't have third base eligibility? Well, this is a hilarious show.
Brendan Rodgers is second base. I said Tyler Walls for shortstop.
Oh, man, we need a fact checker here, but it's all right. We're all over the place. Pick these guys up. Don't worry about their positions. Okay. Third base is this position that just does not have a lot. It really doesn't. It's like super.
I have a couple, but I want to hear you like a third. Let's go.
Well, Ty France is one of them. I mean, I think
like
you could
Ty
actually
France.
do a lot worse than Evan Longoria. I can't believe I'm saying it.
I mean,
but
Evan Longoria, let me just tell you what he's doing the past week, past 7 games. This is a streaker. He's hitting 400. When was the last player to hit 400 in Major League Baseball? Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, 406.
Okay. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs in the past 7 days. You know also like at third base, I got to say his name just because when I say his name, it's going to be like your face will turn red and you'll start going crazy. But he is over 60%, but I'm going to say him anyway just to get you mad. Ian Happ. I said it.
Ian Happ never makes me mad. He makes me happy. Remember?
No, he doesn't. You hate Ian Happ, and that's a fact, Jack.
No, Ian Happ makes me.
Well, Ian Happ's hitting 304 in the past 7 games. He's hitting 304, and he has 2 home runs. So that all being said, you're big. You said like many times, Ian Happ. He's not good. You shouldn't pick him up. He's way overrated.
Listen, he still has a lot of upside. He could prove me wrong in the long run. But I could also see Ian Happ hitting 179 for the rest of the year. I'm just saying.
I'm going to bring up every week. There's going to be Ian Happ updates, and we're going to see how. So the past 7 days. So let's say he hit 304 with 2 home runs. So what rating does he get?
Ian Happ gets a tepid C-.
A C- rating, 304 with 2 home runs.
Yeah, because he's Ian Happ. He's Ian Happ. I've seen him before. There's too much of Hunter Dozier in him.
Is he still in the majors?
Hunter Dozier now hitting 136, I think. Okay, how about this? Ryan Zimmerman. You laughed when we brought him up. I'm not talking about Bob Zimmerman.
I just said he doesn't play enough for me to have him on my team.
He's starting to play more.
But if he's starting more than 80% of the time, I will think about it. How's his starts look?
I'm looking right now, but I'm going to check out his game log. But with injuries, he's going to play a lot. He's playing probably 60% of the time right now. Listen, I know you don't want to do the work of the daily lineup thing, but it could save you a lot of trouble.
I know, but I'm just so lazy.
Okay, listen, if you're lazy, don't pick up Ryan Zimmerman. Not your guy.
Okay.
Thank you. But if you're not lazy, he could be your guy.
Okay, got it. Okay.
All right, let's go to shortstop. We had a preview of shortstop when.
So I said Tyler Walls just because curiosity factor. How good is this kid? The Tampa Bay traded away their starting shortstop to make room for Tyler Walls. Obviously, they have high expectations for him. They waited on Wander Franco, who's the number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball. So that all being said, this Tyler Walls better be great because they did a lot of work to make him start. So I'm picking him up just to see how he does. Dan, what do you think?
I think it's a great pickup. I also like the guy you did pick up in our league, Miguel Rojas, in our keeper league. Miguel Rojas, he has 32 runs scored already. He's batting 277. Yep. He's got 4. There's nothing to not like in the Miguel Rojas profile, unless you're going to talk about maybe his RBIs are a little on the low side. But for shortstop, that's not bad. I mean,
I have him for you in a trade. I have the best hitting shortstop in the league, so I don't need him.
But you don't have Brandon Crawford, who we talked about.
No,
we said he's not going to keep hitting home runs. He is. But he's 67% owned. But you could trade for him.
No, the best shortstop is the guy who plays for Boston. Has the X in his name.
Boston, Xander Bogaerts. I think he might be over 60% owned.
I think he's like 92, 94. And the other one I like, he actually got hurt. I was watching the Angel game. Last night I was watching the Angels play, and I love Jose Iglesias. I think that's
good.
his name.
I thought you were going to say David Fletcher. I was like, don't say David Fletcher.
No, Jose Iglesias. And he's hitting before he got hurt. He got a base hit, rounding first. He pulls his hamstring, and he was hitting for the past 7 days. He's hitting 350, 1 home run, and 8 RBIs. He's just killing it the past 7 days, and I think he has a couple stolen bases. But he hurt himself rounding first, so I don't know if he's really hurt or if he just strained it. I have no idea. But at shortstop, he's somebody that's starting to hit. Remember how well he was hitting for the Tigers at one time? I feel like he's a streak hitter, and he could be a great streaker for your team if you need a shortstop right now.
This is one of the reasons that I never get hurt. I never round first.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as soon as he rounded first, he grabbed his hamstring, and it was like, oh no.
Well, our condolences to him, but thankfully it's only a short-term injury, and he'll be back soon. Nicole Goodrum, meanwhile, is another guy I like. The Tigers have a lot of value, just floating.
They do,
around.
and Goodrum, I mentioned him last week. He is available. He's plays like 4 different positions,
and he's 22% owned. He's stolen 7 bases.
Keep going.
Listen,
what's he hitting?
It's not like he's a terrible hitter. He's hitting 231.
Yeah, but the past week he's been tearing it up.
No, I know he has been. Actually, I think like he had some kind of bad average mixed in there earlier, and he's doing really well. But you can get guys like a guy like Ahmed Rosario. You could do a lot worse actually with some. If you need a stopgap, I would not play him for more than 2 weeks though.
No. These are folks. These are a lot of these guys are streakers. You're going to pick them up for a week and then dump them when your guy comes back.
Exactly. We're not recommending your new starters here. Okay. No. Not especially not at third base and shortstop. There were some guys like Keston Hiura who could become an actual starter on your team, or even Ryan Zimmerman if he gets his way into playing time. You could actually be starting that guy, believe it or not. But anybody else that we're missing at shortstop?
No, I gave you 2. Again,
Wander
for
Franco's
me,
still only 58% owned.
Yeah, I don't know when they're bringing him up. I mean, they brought up Walls, so what are they going to do with Franco?
They're going to bring him up.
I'm asking you a question. What are they going to do with Walls, who's also a shortstop?
They're going to trade somebody. This is what Tampa Bay does.
So they'll trade Walls.
They won't trade Walls. No, they're going to trade one of their
Joey Wendell.
They'll trade Wendell.
He's like a utility guy. He plays outfield too. I don't think they'll trade him. He's too valuable. But that all being said, it'll be interesting what happens. I can't wait to see what happens in Tampa Bay. But that's great.
I'm just telling you, don't shy away from owning Wander Franco.
I'm not. I got him in. You want him from me. I'm waiting for you to make me an offer.
Well, okay. You have to stop laughing at my offers. We got to get past the laugh phase. All right. Now, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below so we can argue with you or compliment you. We're nice people too. Okay, now we do have a little bit of a shorter show today. We're in a bit of a rush because we have something on the tail end. It's not even us. We're getting cut off. So we have to talk about outfielders right away. We got to go straight to it.
Let's go.
I'm gonna defer to you, Casey. Oh, Casey not here.
Casey Scheinfeld, he's not here. It's Ross the Boss.
Go with you, Ross the Boss.
I'm going to bring up this guy's a stasher. So a stasher is a guy you're going to pick up and not start him, but you're going to stash him because he's going to be valuable very soon. It's going to be Joe Adele. He is the outfielder for the California Angels, I was going to say, for the Los Angeles Angels. He is in the minors. He's in Salt Lake City right now, enjoying the fresh air and the great weather in Salt Lake City. In the past 6 games, he has 6 home runs. He's hitting like 400 in the minors. He is going to be brought up very soon. The Angels are very shallow in the outfield. They as you know, Mike Trout is hurt, and Dexter Fowler is hurt. So they have a lot of openings for people to play in the outfield. So Joe Adele, who's been a top prospect in the organization for a couple years now, he's a total stud. I've seen him play in spring training. Pick him up. Trust me on this one. You can't start him tomorrow. You'll start him in a week. He'll be brought up in a week. But remember, 6 home runs in 6 games. That's pretty impressive, right, Dr. Dan?
Not only is it impressive, I'm going to go add him.
No, don't.
Right
no, it's my
idea.
Do it now
while you're talking.
No.
Is this going to bother you? You're probably rushing to get him too.
No, don't take him.
Listen, I owned Joe Adele last year in our keeper league. I had him and Luis Robert, and I was just waiting to see which one is going to get there first. But these are the kind of players you do want to pounce on. I could not agree more.
I wanted to bring a player that we haven't talked about this year. I mean, the other 2 guys I've talked about. They're still available, but it's not as sexy as Joe Adele. You know what I mean? Joe Adele's like a sexy pickup because he hasn't been talked about. He's in the minors.
I mean, right. Ian Happ has been picked over.
Ian Happ's going to be brought up we're doing Ian Happ. Ian Happ's going to have his own little update with his picture on it, and we'll talk about how great of a week he had and how you're so wrong of not liking Ian Happ. But we'll do that later.
All right, now I'm going to bring up a guy whose batting average is not very good, but I'm not that.
That's
worried
okay.
Yeah. He is also a Jew, and I think that's awesome. Max Kepler.
Max Kepler, yes.
Max Kepler just recently bar mitzvahed. That's what I think of whenever I hear of a
Robbie
Jew.
Grossman recently bar mitzvahed.
Robbie Grossman and Max Kepler had a double bar mitzvah. And then Max Kepler, he has 5 homers and 5 steals in only 126 at bats. He's hitting 214, but he hits higher than that. Kepler is a valuable player. I just picked him up in our keeper league because, not to keep him, of course, but he is a valuable player, and he's
a guy that's always like back and forth on waivers. He gets hot, he gets cold.
I'll cut him at some point.
If he's a streaker guy and he's streaking right now, I would pick him up. That's a good idea.
We're going streaking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Robbie Grossman is 61% owned. So if you need a Jew under 60%, you're gonna have to go with Max Kepler.
I have another Jewish player I want to talk about next.
Ooh, wow! The Jews.
This must be a record. I mean,
what is this?
It's unbelievable.
Hank Greenberg is retired.
He is. So
who is it?
It's Jock Peterson. 2 home runs yesterday, Dr. Dan. The past 7 games, he's been hitting 375. He's hitting 267 for the year. He's had a horrible April. We talked about this, but he's picking it up. I know he's dreadful against left-handers. I know the whole thing. Don't tell me. But they're going to start playing him. He's starting to hit. He had a great day yesterday. He's a streaker, and he's Jewish, and it's going to be a record here on our show talking about 2 players in a row that light the menorah. That's a record, Dr. Dan, right?
That has got to be a record. Now, the next guy I'm going to mention, this is one of those players. We talked a little bit about maybe doing a segment, and I think we'll do this next week, on players who are not hitting well but are going to start hitting well.
Yeah, they're basically players that started out slow, that values went way down.
Yeah, we call this the Francisco Lindor Award.
Yeah, that you could get for like a box of donuts for nothing.
Yeah, but
that you should get now because statistically, being a mathematician like Ross the Boss is, they're going to start hitting very soon.
It's true, but if you really like that box of donuts, don't lose it.
Okay, got it.
It's a good commodity. All right, so another guy that I think is pretty valuable is Brian Reynolds, who we always make the Ryan Reynolds joke. Yes, he's not.
It's a great joke,
but Pittsburgh is.
I haven't followed him the past few weeks. Is he hitting?
He's continuing. He always hits. He's going to hit for average just fine.
Look it up real quick. What's his average right now?
291.
I mean, 2 home runs still?
No, he's up to 4 home runs.
Okay.
I mean, he at a 291 average, in 2019 he had 314. He's the real deal for batting average. If you need batting average help, I think he's a great one to scoop up. I mean, again, this is about streaking. You and look at how they've been doing for the last 7 days, the last 14 days. If they're not hitting well right now and they're a marginal player, obviously don't pick them up. But if a guy's hitting well, plug him in. You can get a good 2 or 3 weeks out of somebody, and it can go a long way. And we have a guy in our league, Brad. He does this all the time. I'm like, how is this guy winning? He's constantly playing streakers. All right, Ross. Anybody else in the outfield we've missed?
The next guy, you're going to laugh at me. I'm surprised he was re-signed by the Yankees. I mean, he's available at 98% of the leagues. I said it, 98% of the leagues, this guy is available. And throughout the whole season, he's been like batting first, batting ninth, batting fifth. But the Yankees don't know what to do with him. But in the past 7 days, he's hitting 375. He's going to hit the whole season. It's Brett Gardner. And you're going to say, Ross, the guy is 100 years old. Well, he can still run. He can still play defense in center field. He's unbelievable. And the Yankees, their lineup, when they're healthy, when Stanton comes back, they're one of the best lineups in the American League. And Dr. Dan will contest to that. And I feel that Gardner, if you need a player that's going to be consistent, and I think he will be, it could be a good pickup for you. And he steals bases. He's not like this old man. He comes out with a cane. This guy can run.
I've owned Brett Gardner for like 7 straight years, and it's for this.
You don't have him this year.
Not yet, but it could be 8 straight. But I will attest to it, but I will not contest it because that is the opposite. And I am a grammar Nazi, but I'm Jewish, so I can make that joke. No, I still can't make that joke.
No, we can't say that joke. No,
we can't. Okay, now listen. We're moving to starting pitching. Okay. Robbie Ray, 59% owned. You talked about him in the last 2 weeks, I think, and he's just the last call on Robbie.
Inning burner, and his ERA is great. I mean, he's one of these guys. A lot of leagues, if you pitch a lot of innings, there's a minimum sometimes in some of these weekly leagues. You got to pitch like 20 innings or 30 innings to qualify for the stats for pitching. And Robbie Ray's one of these guys that always gets the 7th, 8th inning. He has a rubber arm. He pitches forever. There's no pitch count. And his ERA is like under 3 this year. He's pitching way out of his skin right now. But like you said, it's a great pickup.
I hope that they don't start doing surgery on rubber arms. Then we're in real trouble. I love the guy. I love a guy like that who can just go deep into games and just like isn't worried about his arm at all. Ross, you go ahead and give another one, and then this next one I'm very excited about. I hope you.
So I can't wait. So I'm mentioning just young gun pitchers, guys that impressed me the last couple starts, that are young, that are totally available in your league, that you should pick up because it could be the next Nolan Ryan. It could be the next Tom Seaver. And we did hear a great Tom Seaver story, which will be on our network soon. It's unbelievable. But this guy pitched against the Cleveland Indians, and you know how bad the Indians are, right?
Oh God, no! You're gonna steal my name too.
Tyreek Skirball, is that it?
Who?
Tyreek Skarball.
I don't even know who that is.
So he pitched against. he pitched. It's funny you don't even know who he is. He pitched the past 2 starts. He pitched 5 innings, and he had 9 strikeouts each time he pitched. He had 9 strikeouts. He got the win against Cleveland. He looked like Sandy Koufax. He throws the ball about 100.
Hallucinating. Who?
Throws the ball about Skirball.
All right,
and so he's somebody that I love a lot. Another guy that's coming off an injury, and this guy highly touted, and he's been hurt for the past 2 months. He had 1 start and he looked great. Then he got hurt. Is Elsner Hernandez for the Miami Marlins? He is coming back. He pitched in the minor leagues a couple days ago, had 12 strikeouts in 7 innings. He's gonna, if you need like a young stud pitcher, he could be your pickup. But I'm just telling you, he's not going to last much. He's going to be over 60% very soon.
Ross, I'm starting to search for Skirball, and I can't find any.
SK. I can't read my writing. IBL. His first name is Turk.
Have you been taking LSD?
Not yet.
Oh my God, I don't. We're gonna have to check on that. This is the
Dude,
first.
Put this TURIK. Put TURIK.
TURIK. Nothing comes up.
TARIK.
Okay, hold on. Nothing comes up.
I don't know where. Maybe I'm on drugs. I have no idea.
We'll have to check on this name for you guys. But the guy I was looking for, I thought this was who you're going to say, is Casey Mize. Casey Mize he was a big time prospect, still is basically, but he's pitching in the major leagues on the Detroit Tigers. Casey Mize could be a complete difference maker. You scoop him up everywhere. Every league there is. I don't even care if you're in an 8-team league. You should own Casey Mize. I want to know who Tyreek Skirball is. This is like the mystery of all time.
I'm looking him up right now.
We've got the other Ross back here. Welcome back, other Ross.
So it's Tyreek.
Remember Ross the Sauce?
It's Tyreek Skubal, Skubal. His first name's Tyreek, TARIK, just like I said.
Oh, there it is. Okay, Tyreek.
24 years old.
Ross, he has a whip of 151 and an ERA of 5.23. No,
I know, but I'm talking about the last 2 starts.
All right. Well, listen, if you want to streak somebody who might
last
make you
2 starts,
hallucinate,
9 strikeouts in 5 innings. I'm just saying he's a young, hot, young pitcher.
Listen, I'm not even faulting you. I actually have heard of him now that I see.
I've heard of him. I've watched him pitch against your Cleveland Indians. He looked like Cy Young. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, but see, that has to do with the Indians. Okay, now listen. Do you remember Ross the Sauce?
Yes, is he back?
Ross the Sauce is back.
What's his question?
I'm sorry. I saw the question on the screen. I wanted to get to it, but Tyreek Skubal was just too delicious to leave. He says, yo, Ross the Sauce, back from COVID. What's up, boys? Ross the Sauce, you had COVID? I'm glad you pulled through okay, man. Good to see you here. Tell us how you got through it. And I also want to hear if you've heard of Tyreek Skubal. We got to put him on the cover of this week. This is amazing.
I can't believe I missed this. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Hey, listen.
I got one more pitcher.
Give him one more pitcher, and then we'll go to the dreaded.
So James helped me up with him. Caprulian.
Oh God, you chose a tough name. Yeah, I think that is right.
Caprulian. His first career start was good, but his second career start was unbelievable. He pitched 5.2 innings, 2 earned runs, 9 Ks, and I think he pitches today. I think he got the win today, actually. but he's one of these young stud pitchers that the Oakland A's every year always get a great pitcher, unbelievable pitcher.
Yeah, well, and some of it's that park, big park.
It is that park,
but it's
the
also
park
the organization.
Yeah, it is. But he is one of these guys that could be these like the next big thing in Oakland. I like Cole Irvin too. I mean, Oakland always finds these young pitchers, and they always pitch out of their minds when they're there.
So I want to say something about Cole Irvin because I had him in a number of leagues, and I cut him loose in both. And the reason,
you did?
Well, he's a good pitcher, but you got to watch his strikeout ratios. Cole Irvin's going to hurt you in strikeouts.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I again, you got to take an Oakland A because they always have a winning record.
I agree. I would play him sparingly. I would play him a little bit sparingly.
Okay.
Let's go to the dreaded closer position. Can't stand these guys. They ruin my year every year, but somehow this year I'm actually doing pretty well in that. Ross the Sauce is making another comment. I want to just read it really quickly, and then we'll get to relief pitchers. Yeah. What did I miss, boys? And I made it. That's good. You made it. That's all you need to know. And haven't been up to fantasy baseball since the Kellenick call-up. Jared Kellenick has not been hitting that well so far, unless he's turned the corner in the last week. But give him time. This guy's going to figure it out eventually. I don't know if it's going to happen this season, but don't forget that name because he's going to be good next year for sure. All right, Ross, relief pitchers 60% and under owned. Who you got?
I'm going to say a name that I haven't said all year. You guys said him, but the past 5 appearances, 0.00 ERA. Yeah, you heard me. 2 saves. Daniel Bard of Colorado Rockies. He started off horribly. He is pitching unbelievably. He is their closer. He didn't lose his job. He's the past 5 appearances. Again, he gets strikeouts, he gets saves, and he's under 60%, and he's not going to lose his job for a while. So Daniel Bard, your number 1 pickup when it comes to closers.
I think it's a great pickup. And by the way, if you're going to own a Rockies pitcher, own their closer. That's the only way to go. We've got a question. Would you guys trade Baez for Ian Anderson? Now, this is interesting because you took Ian Anderson in the draft right ahead of me in one of our leagues. I can't remember which.
Yeah.
Would you trade Baez for him?
Would I?
Yeah.
So I like Ian Anderson. Baez, to me, he's never really impressed me as a hitter. And I know he's an unbelievable defensive player. I mean, defensive wise, he's a top 5 shortstop, but hitting wise, he just hasn't turned that corner. And I think he's hitting like 260 this year. I mean, 263, and I believe like his home runs are not that great, and his RBIs aren't that great.
No. Listen, he must have picked it up recently from what you've seen because he's got 11 homers and
he's 11
RBIs
now. Okay,
and 7 stolen bases. So I would not trade Baez for Ian Anderson. That was my initial leaning, but having looked at the numbers,
looking at the numbers now, it just depends who's your other shortstop. Or I mean, Ian Anderson. First of all, it's not the guy from Jethro Tull, I believe, right? It's not. They add Ian Anderson.
No.
Okay, because
not Bungle in the Jungle. No.
Okay, I thought it was maybe that Ian Anderson, but okay. So Ian Anderson, young stud, Atlanta pitcher. They find these pitchers, and he's been. What are his stats for the year? I mean,
Ian Anderson. See, I think they're solid, but they're not Baez level. He 51 innings pitched, 4 wins, 53 strikeouts.
Yeah,
2.82 ERA.
It just you know what I would say on this. It just depends your needs. If you need a starting pitcher and you're low on starting pitchers, maybe I would take Ian Anderson, but it just depends who's on your team and what's going on out there.
Listen, if you're going to trade for Ian Anderson, ask for the flute from Jethro. I would get a better pitcher if you're going to trade Baez. Okay.
I think you can. Baez has a great reputation. I mean, all these young hot players that come up in the league, they love Baez.
You know who you could get possibly for Baez pretty easily is the guy in the picture behind you who we interviewed, Lucas Giolito.
Yeah.
That if you're going to go for somebody, I would go for somebody like that. All right, back to relief pitchers that are 60% and under owned. Now, this is something I want to talk about. There are certain pitchers that you might want to start owning because soon the guy ahead of them could get traded away. So Richard Rodriguez has been great in Pittsburgh. Great. I would trade him. I have him, and I'm going to trade him.
Right.
And I hope most of my opponents aren't watching. Well, I kind of hope they are. But he's a guy I would trade, and I'd pick up the guy behind him, who I believe is Kyle Crick. I can't believe I'm giving these.
It's a good idea. My other guy, Tyler Rogers of Minnesota. Robles has been fumbling the ball a lot. He's been blowing saves. Tyler Rogers got the save the other night. I just feel it could be his job now. We'll see what happens, but I like Tyler Rogers as a pickup. I mentioned Bard. The other one that blew his first save of the year on Sunday was Michael Fulmer. Gave up a home run to Kansas City, but I still believe he has that job in Detroit, and it's still not a bad pickup.
I think that's good. I also think Trevor May is a guy to watch. He's 11% owned. Edwin Diaz, could you see him getting dealt?
If the Mets are not in contention, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a guy like
but that division's the worst in baseball, so the Mets will be contention until September.
I mean, and Trevor May's sister was my kid's kindergarten teacher, so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and just to remind the audience, Harper, the outfielder for the Phillies, he's on the IL also right now. So if you need another outfielder, you should listen to our show and pick up the ones we said.
That is a good idea. We've got lots of ideas for your injuries and for trade deadline and all this. One last comment on that Baez deal. Ross the Sauce notes, he has Dansby Swanson, but he can use the depth in pitching. So what Ross is saying is true. You could trade Baez for pitching. I just think you can do better than Ian Anderson.
I think you're right. We'll see try to get a little step higher. That's not a bad idea.
Another guy that I think is a good guy to own in relief pitchers is Dylan Floro. He is the eighth inning man in Miami.
He used to be a Dodger too. I remember him. He can pitch, but my boy Garcia is their closer. He's not losing his job.
No, well, unless he gets traded.
How dare you?
How dare I, sir? Well, listen, if I'm going to admit my secrets about the Pittsburgh Pirates, I'm going to air your dirty laugh too.
I'm trying to trade him to you too. Okay, keep going.
I'll trade you Rich Rodriguez for Yimi Garcia. Complete nonsense. Anybody else we should mention, Ross?
No, I think we're good. We're good. We're good till next week. I think we went through everything.
We went through a lot of things. We went through
I think we're ready.
Some kind of medicinal LSD experience even.
It did. I totally fumbled that one guy from Detroit. I feel bad.
No. Listen, I provided great entertainment.
I mean, who names their Tyreek? Who names their kid that?
Who names their kid with the last name Scooball? Oh, well, the Scooball family, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. And we would be very excited to discuss these things with you. Be here next week, same time, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I did some quick math there. I always know it's simply -3. Thank you for watching.
Look, coming down the runway is Kill Cliff, the clean energy drink. It's in a brand new can. Oh, look how the colors pop. Boom, boom. Oh, beautiful tan. The front, the back. Gorgeous. Oh, and the flavor. It's still the same awesome taste. I want it in my mouth right now. Oh, so sexy. Go to killcliff.com. Oh, do it now. Oh.